What is going on, peasants? My name is JB, and I'm back here today with my quarterfinals matchup / team builder for the BBL. We are taking on choice CJ coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and if you guys will remember back all the way to week 1, we kind of got fisted in this matchup. We took a 5-0 L, so definitely want to try to redeem ourselves here in the playoffs. Which it kind of sucks that we our biggest loss of the regular season we have to take on in the first round of playoffs. But we have some things and stuff up our sleeves for those of you who have been paying attention to the season, and will notice the transactions that I made a few weeks ago. You can probably tell that they were for this inevitable possibility. So let's go ahead and go over CJ's team real quick. You can see he has the Arceus Dark, Mega Medicham, Garchomp, Heatran, Primarina, Paloswine, Scizor, Quillfish, Zatsu, Archeops, Trevenant, and Ampharos, with the users being Garchomp and Heatran. I apologize, this looks a little wonky. I just completely don't have a whole hell of a lot of time to make an actual list look good, because I'm a lazy piece of crap and I need to get this video out because it's supposed to already be up as I'm recording this, and well, guess what, it's not up. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the squad that we are building, that we're bringing to this game. I want to give shout outs to Dai, Dorian, and Shay for helping me with the squad. But first off, we have Michael with a B, or Bikel, our Mega B drill with Poison Jab, Drill Run, Fell Stinger, and U-Turn. The speed allows us to outspeed a max speed Arceus Dark with plus speed nature. Didn't want to risk it. We had more than enough speed, as you can see, to spare. So we just decided to outspeed the fastest thing we possibly could, being timid or jolly. Darkiest, and then the moves, Poison Jab, Drill Run, Fell Stinger, and U-Turn. Pretty self-explanatory. Fell Stinger was basically there as, if I can get this to work, cool, but I really don't need much else outside of, Poison Jab and Drill Run and U-Turn to just do tons and tons of damage to his team. His best switch into this thing being the Scizor, which is, I can U-Turn on pretty much for free. I do live one Bullet Punch from a Banded Scizor, so I'm never O-code by Bullet Punch, which is nice. I might be O-code after Rocks, so we'll have to be careful in that regard. But if Rocks aren't up, I can freely take a Bullet Punch if I absolutely need to. You turn out, or I can just hard switch into a couple of things on my team that you can see I can switch into Bullet Punch relatively well. But other than that, Poison Jab just does a lot of damage to things that aren't Heatran, which we have Drill for, of course, and then yeah, it's basically just here to outspeed Darkius because it can. If it can get a Fell Stinger off on something cool, but otherwise it's just here to pivot around and just do a lot of damage. Primarina is another thing that I'm, pretty worried about. Being able to hit that thing super effectively with a Adamant Max Attack Poison Jab. Gonna be doing quite a bit of damage. So next up we have, of course, our Terrakion with Close Combat, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Swords Dance. We have a Focus Sash on this set, and the speed will allow us to outspeed, I believe, Max Speed Garchomp, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that really quickly. That sounds right. Max Speed Chomp. Yeah, we actually Max Speed Chomp with this. The reason we have Focus Sash was there wasn't really a resist berry that made sense, and I was thinking about running Assault Vest for Darkius, but he doesn't need to. He can still 2-hit KO Terrakion because his bulk isn't great. So yeah, Assault Vest didn't really work. And I just decided to go with Focus Sash because I can live any one hit, Swords Dance up, and just get a huge hit off. I don't really like this set too much, but it can put in work against his things that aren't Arceus. Basically, this doesn't deal with Arceus at all. Of course, if I predict a Judgment, I can get Justified boost, but that really doesn't help me because I'm gonna get killed by the movie clicks after the coverage movie has for this thing afterwards. But if Arceus gets taken out early game, I can do a ton of damage to the rest of his team with this thing, +2, whatever. It's not going to feel good to most things. So, in an ideal world, we get rid of Arceus, and this thing can just sort of come in and sleep, clean up late game. That could sort of be the game plan we go for that. Go forward with that. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next set. We have Flower. Our Florges with Moonblast, Defog, Wish, and Calm Mind. Pretty self-explanatory. Max HP, Max Phys F set. He has a Garchomp. He has a Heatran. He has Paloswine. Just things I don't like switching into physically. Mega Medicham, of course, as well. And I need a defog in this team to help Mega B-Drill do what it wants to do, which is, U-turn a lot. So we needed Hazard Removal on the team, and Rotom just did not get the job done, so we got Fizdef Defog Florges. Pretty much just here to, it can help with Arceus to some extent because it does have that massive Spit F stat, and it can, take physical hits here and there, but if he wants to run Iron Head or something, I'm 2-KO'd against Arceus. But yeah, it's rough. But yeah, we have, just we can get some Calm Minds up, we can maybe do some things, but I'm not really expecting him to do much other than defog and maybe click a Moonblast here and there, maybe toss off a Wish if I can, live, but we'll see. Next up, we have Bubbles, our Palkia with Waterium Z. The moves are Hydro Pump, Special Rend, Thunderbolt, and Flamethrower. Just 4 attacks, so we have the Waterium Z because it's a pretty damn good nuke against everything that isn't Primarina. Nothing like wants to switch into that. He does have the Trevenant and Qwilfish, which are resist, but I definitely don't expect to see Trevenant and Qwilfish. It can be a cool bring, but it's not taking any move into Thunderbolt from this set, so yeah, of course we have max speed to speed type with Mega Medicham because we don't want to give that thing, just a free button to click against Palkia. Because if we can win that speed type, we'd obviously prefer to do that. So yeah, that's why we have max speed there. And then next up, we have Clockwork, our Celesteela with the moves Heavy Slam, Air Slash, Earthquake, and Leech Seed. This thing is basically here as a soft Scizor check. Didn't really have Flamethrower on this side because we couldn't really fit it. It's also a soft Garchomp check. Just, it's here to be fat. It's a Celesteela, it's here to be fat, it's here to take hits, it's here to Leech Seed things. Again, sort of do that well against Arceus depending on the coverage he's running. And the bulk he's running, Heavy Slam could potentially break some subs, and then we could subseed that thing, or we could leech that thing. We don't have sub, but yeah, it's just nice for spreading Leech Seed. Can pivot into stuff like Chomp or Scizor if I absolutely need to, and that's sort of the idea behind that set. And then last but certainly not least, we have Brain, who is going to be our Stealth Rocker for this game. Pretty interesting set. It allows us to take any one hit from anything, basically, is what it does. We take any Judgment that's not boosted from Darkius. We take any, non-boosted Z move from Chomp. Same with Heatran. Take any Spec Set from Primarina. It just lives any one hit from anything, basically. Foul Play is nice for stuff like Mega Medicham, for a +2 Garchomp, for, whatever. And then we have, Stealth Rock, because there's Stealth Rocks in the knockoff to get rid of items on stuff like, Primarina's Assault Vest, potentially, or Scizor's Choice Band, or whatever. It's just nice. It's knockoff. Nice to have. And that's pretty much going to do it for the team for the semifinal, or quarterfinals game, excuse me. We'll have to get through this game if we want to have a chance at semifinals, obviously. So let's go ahead and get into that game and see if the team can pull it off, shall we? Okay, so getting into the game, you can see that CJ ended up bringing the Scizor, the Heatran, the Mega Medicham, the Darkius, the Primarina, and the Qwilfish. 4 out of the 6 things I really expected. I wasn't sure on the Primarina or the Qwilfish. Mostly the Qwilfish, Primarina coming makes a lot of sense, but I was really surprised not to see Garchomp. It's obviously amazing that we don't have to deal with that thing, and that means his only potential Z user is Heatran, and considering that Heatran doesn't exactly have, moves that it really wants to click against me, I can probably safely assume that we won't be seeing a Z move in this game, which is also, something worth noting, that, it's just good that we don't have to worry about something getting potentially nuked. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the game. I'm pretty sure, well, first off, good luck, have fun to CJ, of course. Be sure to go check him out, like I mentioned earlier, as well. So, yeah. I do believe I just go ahead and end up bleeding off of my Palkia, as he ends up bleeding off with Tony Stark, which ends up being the Scizor. And, yeah, I just end up bleeding off of Bubbles, and this is a great matchup for me, because I am pretty free to just click a button at this point. It's going to come down to, what I predict coming in, obviously, but I am free to just click an attack here. So he actually just goes hard into the Darkius as I go for a T-Bolt. I predicted one of his water types is coming because he did have 2. It hit most things, basically is what I'm trying to say. As he, takes the hit relatively well with Darkius, and he goes right into Primarina. As I go for a Spatial Rend, he makes an incredible read there. So, we already know that this is going to be a crazy game where we're definitely going to have to pull off some plays. We're already seeing these sorts of switches already. So I go into Celesteela here as he brings the Primarina back in, and he's just going to fire off a Moonblast, and you can see that doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. It does a decent amount, of course, because it's a Primarina, but I'm a Celesteela. I could take that very well, so that's good to know that he just clicked that, not a water move. So he's going to switch out here, which leads me to believe he's potentially like a Spec set, maybe a Scarf set. Maybe he just didn't want to take an attack there, but I just fire off an Earthquake as it hits his entire team. And if he wants to go hard into Heatran, which it turns out he does, I am able to pop his Sugar Berry. And yeah, do some solid damage there. Do a little above half, or a little below half, actually. So at this point, I decide that, you know what, alright, I'm going to have to make a play at some point in this game. He's probably clicking rocks here. I'm just going to go for an Earthquake, as he actually decides to fire off a Toxic. And I go for Earthquake, and we take out Heatran very early in the game. So my thought process there was, he's going to expect me to switch, right? Palkia seems pretty free here on the fire move. He's probably going to go for rocks, I would think. That's what I was predicting. So I decided Earthquake, and it pays off. He goes for Toxic. trying to catch my Primarina, and we have a dead Heatran on our hands, and I get a defense boost, which is lovely, and I'm basically sitting here at full HP with my Celesteela. So he's going to bring in his Mega Medicham, and from the range I'm at, close, or high jump kick does not kill me. I'm pretty sure it's not even, it's a roll to even 2 a KO, because Celesteela is disgusting. And I also live Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch will 2 kill me, I'm pretty sure, because that's just how things work. But he actually goes for a workup, which surprised the hell out of me. Like, alright, I definitely tied a +1 Thunder Punch, or a high jump kick, and that's no buenarini. But I just fire off a air slash. You can see it actually ends up doing a ton of damage to this thing, right at 75%. So we're going to get our leftovers, be back at full, and I do not take a +1 high jump kick. So he actually reveals a Baton Pass here, which is insane. Work up Baton Pass Medicham, excuse me. Really cool set, as he just, Baton Passes right into the threat that is the Darkiest. I can just fire off a Heavy Slam, and you can see that's a solid amount. I'm basically, at this point, Celesteela is pretty much just here to try to not let Darkiest run through me again. As you can see, Judgment does just a ton of damage as I fire off another Heavy Slam. Another Heavy Slam guaranteed it in range of Beedrill, regardless, Beedrill's U-turn, regardless of what he was, like if he was bold max, it is guaranteed he would die to, any RCS set would die to U-turn after that Heavy Slam. So he's going to go for Recover here, which I do predict, and I believe just fire off a Leech Seed here to keep him from, just keep some residual damage going on this thing, which is always a nice thing to have. So we do manage to land our Leech Seed as he does Recover. And at this point, I think I'm just going to let Celesteela do its thing. I'm just going to spam Heavy Slam. I don't want him subbing up on me. I don't really break a sub. Unfortunately, it's like I do 24 max with Heavy Slam to like the HP stat he ran last time. So my goal here is to just like let Celesteela do its thing. If Celesteela can just get as much damage off on Darkiest as it can, just keep it in range of Beedrill basically is my goal here. So I'm just going to keep spamming Heavy Slam. He's going to Judgment and Protect, or Judgment and Recover, depending on where he's at, as I'm pretty sure he recovers on this turn. Because he's sitting at pretty low HP, and I'm actually getting around 30 HP back from Leech Seed, so that tells me he probably has quite a bit of HP on this thing. So he is going to go for the Recover. Again, I'm just going to keep spamming Heavy Slam, just keep this thing low. If I can get it in range, guaranteed range of a Fell Stinger, even better. But just keeping it at around like 60 to 70% will keep it in range of U-turn for the most part. Assuming he's running some speed on it. Again, if he's running like max HP, max defense bold, he has to be around half for it to be in range of U-turn. So that's my idea basically, is to just like keep spamming Heavy Slam. He's gonna go for another Recover, and you can see my Celesteela is getting right back on up to around full, or around half, as he is RCS is back up to full, excuse me. So again, another Heavy Slam. You can see it's doing around 24-ish%. That was a really high roll. So yeah, it was just a little bit of a stalemate at this point. But I'm perfectly content with, letting Celesteela do its thing. Wasting recovers is always a good thing. Like, these Ubers Mons, these high tier things, they're gonna use a lot of PP. So he's gonna go for the Judgment there, and you can see it just does so much. And I can get off another Heavy Slam, bringing him down to around half, which is again that magic always in range of U-turn number, and I can just get a little bit more HP back. And with the Leech Seed, and you can see we're sitting at around 70 HP. Eventually, I do believe he is going to just kill me. This is the turn he does just kill me. I thought we went through another cycle, but now he's just going to drop a Judgment, which will, of course, finish my Celesteela off from where it's at. But Celesteela did its job. It kept Darkiest in range for Michael with a B to come on in, Mega Evolve, and click the U-turn, and pick off the Darkiest, which is, of course, the most threatening Pokemon in the entire league. So getting rid of this thing relatively early in the game is going to be great. But wait! This man is actually running Extreme Speed. He's +1 Extreme Speed, mind you, from the Baton Pass workup. Beedrill! Mega Beedrill lives a +1 Extreme Speed from a damn Arceus. Are you kidding me, Beedrill? Are you kidding me? Real MVP stuff right there. Like, oh my god. So the transaction ends up working out perfectly, picking up Mega B to help deal with Darkiest. And I just decided to U-turn into Florida. It has a relatively decent matchup against most of his team, and I don't really have to worry about, like a lot. It just seemed like the safest-ish play. So what we're going to do here is he's actually going to bring the Coefficient. I don't really want to take a Poison Jab. As you can see, he ends up going for it. So I bring Palkia in, and you can see just how effing much that did. He gets a crit, He turns out he is Life Orb, offensive Quillfish, which is actually a really good bring because Quillfish, like, you gotta put some respect on Quillfish. Like, if you don't prepare for that thing, it can sort of just kill a lot of stuff. So he's gonna suck off the Metacham here as I just click Thunderbolt. It hits the most things, like I said earlier. It does the most damage to his team overall because, you know, he does still have a fairy type alive, which he will go into here as after I finish off the thing I just finished off, the Metacham. So we're gonna switch out. We need to keep Palkia around because, you know, I can still click buttons at some point. I need to get this thing weakened, and basically I need to figure out its item before I can really rely on staying in and clicking what's it called, Thunderbolt against this thing. I need to know whether or not it's AV or potentially choiced or what have you. So we go into Florges on the Moonblast. He's gonna switch right back out into the Scizor. As I fire off a Moonblast, it does like around 20-ish% to Scizor, and it did a lot to it basically, it would have told me his item on Primarina and whatnot, and yeah, it just seemed like the best overall play to get damage off on something, and I didn't really see the need to fire off a Wish just then, so I'm not going to. I'm going to get a decent amount of chip damage off on the Scizor, as I can just bring in Uxie. Brain. Just come in and do his thing, as he's going to U-turn out with the Scizor, and from that damage roll, I can tell you he is definitely not a Bandit Scizor. He's not even that heavily invested based on that U-turn damage. We are a physically defensive Brain, but still, Bandit U-turn would have done like 85-90%. Somewhere in that range, and like even an Adamant like U-turn would have done well over half. So he's not a very invested, if invested at all, Scizor from that roll. So I just decided to go for Stealth Rock, as it, you know, prevents him from, you know, switching in for free, because he's been doing that a lot, especially with this Primarina. Like, his Primarina has taken no damage at this point in the game, and yeah, it's getting really annoying. As you can see, he fires off a Hydro Pump. It does just a ton of damage to poor Brain. I want to keep Brain around, as I can knock stuff off at some point. And I could just, you know, get another safe switch into Primarina, or Florges, excuse me. God, there's so many excuse me's in this video. But he's gonna go for a Hydro Pump again. You can see that doesn't do a lot. I can definitely take 2 from this range that I'm at. So I believe I do go for the Wish this turn, if I'm not mistaken. He is gonna switch into probably he goes into the Quillfish this time, as I'm pretty sure I go for Wish. I should go for Wish. Me thinking I went for Wish. Yeah, we go for a Wish. Just toss one off real quick, and go from there. I definitely don't want to take the Life Orb Poison Jab. It will for sure kill poor Flower from this range. So we do have to switch out, and we can just pass a Wish, hopefully, into something. We can go back into Brain and see what he wants to go for. I could potentially live a Poison Jab from this range. And you can see he actually goes for Liquidation, and Brain lives on 1 HP. That's my boy Brain. And then, you know, Brain is right back up. Brain didn't really serve much of a purpose other than, you know, just serving as a sack and just like something that can switch in and take a hit. Because, you know, we have Beedrill and Palkia in the back that are still here, you know, hit really hard. So we didn't really want to switch either of those into the Quillfish there. So we actually go for the knockoff on the Scizor wanting to come in. I was thinking it was probably Aquaberry at this point, but you can see he actually ends up being a Rocky Helmet variant, which is really cool bringing, honestly. So, yeah, we're just going to go for a Foul Play. Just get some damage off on the Scizor, keeping it low, of course, for, you know, just whatever move I want to click later. He goes for a U-turn, which will, I believe, pick off Brain finally. Actually, no, Brain lives again. Like, Brain just... I'm pretty sure I wanted Brain to die there so I could get a safe switch into something, but yeah, that kind of wasn't the best survival from Brain. We kind of needed a little bit of momentum on our side there, because he's just going to get Primarina for free now, and I can't really do much about it, so I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to sack off Brain at this point. He does go for a Moonblast, which will finally end Brain. Thank you for hanging out, pal. Actually get crit. You can't just crit my Brain like that, man. Oh my goodness. So we can just bring in Flower, and you know, just keep, you know, this sort of standoff going. As he's just gonna go for a Moonblast, and you can see just how much this does. Knocks me down to 44s. I go for a Moonblast again. Just wanting to, you know, chip this thing down. From that damage, I can tell you that he is 100% not Assault Vest. I actually get a special attack drop, which is huge, which will give me a chance to potentially live the next Moonblast and fire off my own Wish, as he will go for the Moonblast. At this point, I'm pretty sure he is the Scarf Primarina based on his damage output and the fact that my god, my Moonblast did as much as it did. Words are so hard. So he's gonna go for his Moonblast, which will unfortunately finish off my Flower. I didn't really have the best play there. I definitely should have just clicked Moonblast again. I don't really know why I wish. I thought it would do less to me than it ended up doing, but I can bring in a force here. And I basically have to hit a Stone Edge at this point because Earthquake's a roll and I don't want to risk that, but he's going to go for the Moonblast, which will not even knock me down to my Sash, so pretty thick horse coming in here as we can, you know, fire off said Stone Edge. Thankfully we hit, which will finish off the Primarina, which again, like I said, it was a roll to kill with Earthquake, so I had to risk the Stone Edge there. It's going to bring in Tony Stark, and I'm pretty sure he can just go for a pretty free Bullet Punch at this point, which will not feel good against anything, but I kind of have to let him go for it as I have Palkia and Beedrill in the back, so definitely need to keep Palkia around, and Beedrill can still, like, as long as I have Beedrill around, I don't think I can lose to Sizzler. Basically, Beedrill is the most expendable, but Terrakion, like, I don't know, like, I had to choose between Terrakion and Beedrill, and I chose Beedrill, basically. So he's gonna go for Bullet Punch with the Sizzler, and you can see that thankfully does not do a lot because of his investment. Him being a more defensive Sizzler allows Bubbles to take that very well. I can click Thunderbolt, which kept Fullfish from wanting to switch in for whatever reason. And it's all going to come down to this, boys. If he kills me with Aqua Jet, or if he crits Aqua Jet, he wins, basically. Because Beedrill is definitely in range, because Beedrill is rather frail. If he doesn't kill me with Aqua Jet, I win. He doesn't even go for it, because even a crit would not have killed. I get off a Thunderbolt, and the Quillfish will die, and your Arkansas Razorwinds are heading to the semifinals of BBL Season 2. So, yeah, definitely great game by CJ. Definitely be sure to go check him out in the description. He's a great dude, really nice guy. It's just a real salt of the earth. That sounded sarcastic, but I promise you it wasn't. He's a really cool dude. Definitely be sure to go check him out. He's a great battler. And yeah, there's just a really fun matchup overall. But you know, honestly, I'm really glad the transactions we made paid off. Like I said, I didn't make them specifically for this game, but I did have, you know, the thought that I would have to play Darkius at some point if I wanted to win a championship in this league in the back of my mind. And it ended up, you know, working out perfectly that the Beedrill and Terrakion transactions ended up, you know, coming into fruition right as the playoffs start, and it got me to the semifinals. So yeah, it's really cool that I actually made a smart transaction for once in my life. It's really, you know, just gives me, it makes me all feel all warm and whatever, man. I lost the analogy. I'm not even gonna front, but we will be playing the winner of Panther 2 and Matt O'Shea in the semifinals. So that should be a fun matchup. Again, really excited that I actually, you know, won another playoff game. I've been, you know, I got my redemption from the regular season, and now I got to get my redemption from PCL. So hopefully we can at least make it to the finals again. That would be freaking amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the semifinals. Peace.